The rogue nation, North Korea, has the world on edge tonight. What did it do at about 8:30 p.m. Eastern last night? Here's what we know. Its whimsical and brutal leader, President Kim Jong-un, took to North Korean TV today bragging that North Korea successfully tested a hydrogen bomb. Now, whether true or not that it was a hydrogen bomb, the world is on edge. Here in America, 2016 GOP presidential candidates are coming out swinging, blaming the Obama administration and the former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton.
We're facing a megalomaniacal maniac who may potentially have a hydrogen bomb.
He's a lunatic, and he's dangerous.
Kim Jong-un is a little unstable, and we need to be trying to find every way that we can to constrain him, including working with the Chinese.
China has total control. Believe me, they say they don't. They have total control over North Korea, and China should solve that problem. And if they don't solve the problem, we should make trade very difficult for China.
When we look at North Korea, it's like looking at a crystal ball. This is where Iran ends up if we continue on this same misguided path.
A lot of the people who negotiated the Iranian agreement were the same people that negotiated the North Korean agreement.
It's a failure of our intelligence. It's a failure of their foreign policy to allow this to happen. And this is the president's problem and Hillary Clinton's problem.
She has gotten every single foreign policy challenge wrong, from Russia to Syria to Libya to Iraq to North Korea, as we were reminded today.
We need to reimpose sanctions across the board.
This madman over there who probably would use it, and nobody talks to him other than, of course, Dennis Rodman talked to him. That's about it.
It's a direct threat to the United States.
Yeah, on the record political panel is here from The Hill, A.B. Stoddard, and from the Washington Post, Aaron Blake. A.B., first, you're listening to all those sound bites today from the campaign trail that every single candidate went after the Obama administration, misguided, failure, blew every challenge, had unstable, with the exception of Donald Trump. Not one of them had a solution or an idea, just a criticism. Trump at least said China should step in.
I agree with you. I think this is a problem that is going to exist for the next president. This North Korea situation is something that we've never really known how to deal with. There's no way to contain it. We rely on the Chinese. We sort of turn our heads away and hope that it's going to go dormant again every time there's a new test. There were more tests under the Obama administration than under the Bush administration. But if you look at what's going on, all the criticisms about the Iran deal might be legitimate. I've agreed with criticisms of Obama's foreign policy on the Russian reset failure, what he did in Syria, a red line he abandoned, and on and on. But for these guys who want to be president, and Carly Fiorina on the Republican side, there's another year of these situations growing worse in the South China Seas. What are we going to see a year from now? What's happening now? What is the plan? And so I give Mr. Trump credit for actually saying that he has a way that he can deal with it.
And he always gets criticized for not having a plan. At least he's got one there.
I did not hear it from the other people.
Aaron.
I think this is a lot like the ISIS situation. There's lots of criticism about Obama and ISIS. There's not a whole lot of alternative paths. Republican candidates aren't talking openly and in large-scale ways about a ground operation in Syria or Iraq right now. They're basically using this to pin it on the guy who's in office right now, and that's a very effective political strategy. But like A.B. said, like you hinted, there's not a whole lot of alternative here. Do you open up talks with North Korea in a way the Obama administration hasn't? That's not really what the Republicans want. They don't like that we were talking to Iran. Do you get tougher? Do you increase sanctions? That's an easy thing to say, but what exactly do you do, and what's the net result of that?
Rick Grinnell raised the point of, putting more information on the ground for the people who live there, because I will tell you, being there, when I talked to them, when they obviously knew I was not Korean, is that they would shake. They were afraid of me. They thought I was there to kill them, and that was just regular citizens. But anyway, let's get the viewers at home to vote on this. Viewers at home, do you blame the Obama administration for North Korea's nuclear test? Tweet yes or no using hashtag Greta. We're going to show you your live Twitter votes throughout the show. A.B., so foreign policy is a huge item, but the Obama administration sure has given a lot of material to the Republicans.
I agree,
take Yemen, ISIS, Boko Haram, Afghanistan, Russia, Israel, Iran, Syria.
I absolutely agree. And I think, that's a liability for Hillary Clinton. That certainly is. She was part of his team. However, she is going to abandon him in a New York minute, the minute she has the primary wrapped up and she's the nominee. She's going to turn into a hawk, turn around, criticize Obama. And the Republicans just need to pick someone who's prepared to match that, because this will be a foreign policy election for certain.
Is it fair to stick Secretary Clinton with the foreign policy Obama administration? She did the first 4 years, but she hasn't been here for the last 4.
Yeah, look, to some extent, as a Secretary of State, she is not necessarily calling the policy shots. She is representing the president on the world stage. But at the same time, there's been reporting that she's been on board, for instance, with the North Korea policy, where there's no talks unless North Korea commits to denuclearization. So, getting beyond what she said when she was Secretary of State is difficult for her to do politically, even if she wasn't necessarily speaking for herself in those instances.
And I will say Trump's idea of at least getting China, that might be, at least it's a start, and North Korea does look up to China a little bit as big brother, but who knows? Nobody's been able to solve North Korea. A.B., Aaron, thank you both very much. And today...